Good afternoon. Welcome to the market close. We have a, wait for it, green day on the market. So not too shabby, not too shabby. And as the title suggests, though, is this the calm before the storm? Tomorrow is CPI day in the US, and that's going to be an interesting result because here I'll lay it out for you. Investors in the US love to get filled with this little thing called hopium. And when it comes to rate cuts, they are dying for rate cuts in the US. And not only are they dying for rate cuts, they're putting they're putting big expectations on the CPI tomorrow, as in they're looking for a soft inflation is coming down CPI. And if it doesn't do that, if we get the opposite result, holy banana bread. We could be in for a very interesting dive into the red tomorrow. So we'll find out pretty soon. But I'll tell you, it could be a very interesting end of the week. Either direction. Now, if we do get some inflation's coming down numbers, well, that could also bode well in the green. And we could see a bit of a market pump as well. So the only thing that is pretty certain at this point for the rest of this week is that it's not going to be flat. It's going to be up or it's going to be down, but no flat. There's no in between. Either the bulls or the bears are going to win, and it will be very, very, very interesting. Now, I did say if you guys want to have a Friday market close, we'll do the typical 4 supers throughout the course of the show, and we'll be back here for that. I kind of really want to be here because I think we're going to have 2 interesting days on the market, either red or green days. So I think that will be kind of cool. But before we get there, let's take a look at where the market is right now. All right, here we go. We've got not a bad day. So the TSX, it is up 1.26%. So that's, 1.27%. That's not too shabby. The S&P 500 up 0.85%. NASDAQ up 0.96%. Gold is up. Silver's not up much, but it's still up. We got a little bit of upward movement with WTI, so West Texas Intermediate. And Bitcoin's kind of not, I'll call this more of a flat day for Bitcoin. As you can see over here on the side, we had a morning pump. So we had a pump, and then we had a little bit of a dump. So pretty much not making up any ground. It's just like, let's go up and let's come right back down. So Bitcoin pretty much flat for the day. Heading on over to our heat map. Oh, this looks a lot better. Look at this. We get a lot of green in here. The banks are all up a wee bit. The railroad's doing pretty good. Look at that. CNR's up 2.12%. CP Kansas Southern, they're up 3.20%. Not too shabby. Alimentation Couche-Tard, they're up. There's a lot of green. I am liking it. And of course, we should see the same thing when we look over here at our ETFs. And yeah, the flagship VFV looking good. VEQT and XEQT both looking good. XEQT up a little bit higher, though, a little bit higher. Moving over to the, moving down to the USA. Look at this. We got Apple having a good day, up 1.71%. Here's NVIDIA. I did read a prediction earlier today that there's a lot of analysts right now that believe NVIDIA is going to pump up to $150 soon. So that I'm going to watch. I'd love to see them go up another $15, but we gotta see. Microsoft, Google, Meta, all up. Tesla up. So the Magnificent Seven having a good day. You might even say they've been having a magnificent day. MasterCard and Visa, though, I guess in the commercial services, not so good. All right. And when we look at crypto, it's actually not that bad. I mean, Bitcoin is down almost a point, almost a percent, so 0.90, but Ethereum's up. Solana's down just a little bit. All right, let's just dive in here. Let's find a coin. All right. Ooh. All right. Whoa. Let's find a coin I've never heard of before. We'll just come in this way here. Here we go. No, I think I've heard of Saga before. Oh, let's go really deep. Let's go really deep this time. We're going really, really, really deep. Whoa. Sorry. All right. All right. There we go. We're going in here. All right. Look at this little red coin down here. What is this? Galaxia. Galaxia. I've never heard of Galaxia. I remember there used to be, I think there used to be a video game called Galaxia or something like that, where you had to, I don't know what, you had a little ship and you're firing at things, or maybe. But yeah, never heard of Galaxia. It looks like whatever it is, it had its heyday back here, and it's just been pretty much a downward drive. This is a coin I will, of course, never own. I will never, ever own Galaxia. I don't know what they do. Are they a game? Maybe. Who knows? If you guys know in the comments, definitely throw it up there. So yeah, Galaxia is our our unknown coin of the day. Unknown coin of the day for sure. All right, let's get back to the chat. You guys are exploding in the chat. All right, here we go. We start off with Jonathan. Am I late? Nope. Another day off for me. Ooh, is this like a staycation? Are you off for the week? Is that kind of the general concept here? Let's see. Get those tendies. We got Mary in the house. So Mary's in the house. So you know what that means. That means I have to take a sip of my coffee because you guys are all going to be busy hitting the like button. Oh yeah. Very, very good. Gotta love it. All right. Enid is in the house. Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to be here. Absolutely. Jonathan reminding you as well to hit the like button. Mary knows where you live. Uh-oh. I mean, it's a possibility, right? Mary could work for CSIS. I don't know, but she could. For those of you from the US, CSIS is sort of like the Canadian version of the CIA and the FBI probably put together. I mean, it's kind of interesting. Ricardo says, good afternoon. Glorious day for me, up 4% total on my portfolio. Long live uranium. Well, uranium does live a long time. At least that's what the half-life tells us. Prairie says, good afternoon, Candace and Banana Bread Brigade. Listening in as I work. Gallica. Was that the name of the video game? Oh, there we go. There we go. Roku from Stittsville is saying, afternoon, everyone. Took the leap and bought some RMAX today. What are your thoughts on purpose YNVD versus the real NVIDIA? Good question. Good question. I like the purpose one. I think you're going to have, I think the big thing you'll have is a little bit of capped potential. So if NVIDIA absolutely explodes, you're not going to get that full potential with the YNVD because of the way things are capped. But when NVIDIA is not exploding, you're still going to get some good growth on the YNVD. And if you are going to get a lot of crazy dividends, So I do like them both. And I will tell you, you will, the fact that you asked about YNVD is actually kind of funny because I did add it to the 0 to 100K challenge. So as part of the rebalancing, but anyway, we're jumping ahead a month. What do you think of FEQT? So I'm going to assume that FEQT is let me just see the time. I wanted to see how much time we had here. It looks like it's an all equity. Is it Fidelities, if I remember correctly? I could be wrong, but let's double check here. FEQT. There we are. Yeah. Fidelity all-in-one equity ETF. So yeah, it's in the same boat as XEQT and VEQT, which we talk about probably more than FEQT. But here we go. Let's take a look at it. You'll see, once again, it's not a bad move up. Now, they haven't been around for long. That's that one downside, I think, for FEQT. So right here, it's looks like they started on the 2022. So yeah, give them a bit of time. I think they'll be fine. I like all of the flavors of EQT personally. Let's see. What time is the CPI release? If I remember correctly, I believe it's like 9 a.m. Eastern. But I'd have to double check on that. But I'm pretty sure. Usually it drops about a half an hour before the market opens. Does Mary work for Ticketmaster? Oh, yeah, she'd know where everybody is as well. I don't know. Mario's in the house with a good afternoon, and we got Jordan in a good afternoon, and Jordan has some great news. This is like 2 streams in a row that you've had some great news. I think things are turning up, for Jordan. Oh, the kitten just came by. Zipping by. All right. Enid wants to know what your great news is. Naylor says, I got NYNVD at the start and love it. Great performer so far. Yeah, absolutely. Now, speaking of NVIDIA, I did post this over on the Discord, but if you hold NVDA, which is on the Canadian side on the NEO exchange, that is the CDR. So the CDR did a 4-to-1 split that started today. So you might see some weird stuff going on. I know over on National Bank, it reflects, of course, the new trading price. So 1/4 of what it was when it closed on Friday, but they haven't given out the shares yet. So it looks like you're really deep in the hole because it's like you've lost 3/4 of your value. But that usually gets fixed within a day or two. When it comes to selling, so if you have something like that that's gone through a split, you're usually okay to sell and buy because they have the records and they sort of base it on that. But I tell you, it can be a little nervous. You can get a little nervous doing it, but there's nothing to be worried about it. So for example, if right now it all shows, like, let's say, I believe it closed around 100 and, oh God, was it 120? Let's say 120. It's somewhere in that ballpark. If it closed at $120 on Friday and then you opened it up today and it was worth 30 something, you would sell it. The thing is, you would only get the 30 something right now if you sold it, but that would all get fixed in the wash as all of the shares come in and everything. So yeah, I wouldn't be concerned. You're still going to get your shares, but it can certainly be a little scary if you didn't realize they were doing a 4-to-1 and all of a sudden it's like, what? Why am I down? A ZS says, hi, what are your views on chips.to? All right. Well, let's take a look. Let's attempt to take a look here. All right. CHPS. Here we go. So this here is a Global X semiconductor ETF. Now, this is going to be good. I can even tell before I go and look at it. And the reason is that, well, chips are in high demand. And they're probably going to have a very, very nice exposure to NVIDIA in this. So let's take a look and let's just look in the last year. Here we go. Look at this. So they went up from 26 to 46. So that's fantastic. Now, they do have a tiny distribution, not a lot, just a little bit, but and it's also an annual. It's just to point that out. You don't see that very often. So yeah, but you're not in this one for the dividends. This is purely going to be a growth ETF. And right now, it's chips are doing great. Chips are doing really, really good. And I expect to continue to see some good improvement of this one. All right. And Jordan, finally the news. I have finally gotten a selection of my glassware into a local dispensary, a 2-year struggle. Well, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. It goes to show perseverance. Perseverance can get you there. So, it is bell time. All right, and market's closed. I was totally getting distracted too. It's actually Vic saved the day. Late, but here before the bell. And then I glanced and I was like, it's 16 seconds past 4 o'clock. So thank you, Vic. You are the hero. You're the go to the stream. You have saved the bell today. And Enid mentions Glassworks. Yes, Jordan makes all kinds of glass things. Everything from balls to I wouldn't even know the names of some of the things, but yeah, he's pretty talented with his glass. CC says, I hope to learn glass blowing, but they closed the shop here. Okay, there we go. I've never tried to blow glass, glass blowing. It's just not something that has interested me, but I have a lot of deep respect for those who are pretty good at it. I think I used to know a woman who made a bunch of witch balls, and so witch balls, they're basically they're like a glass ball, but there's little sort of melty glass things that go between it, sort of like almost like they're connections inside of it, and you're supposed to hang them up in your window, and they'll capture evil spirits trying to enter your house. I don't know about that, but I thought they looked nice. So just something to keep in mind. Jordan says, I am a glass blower and glass distributor of handmade glass from across Canada and the US, so pipes and other accessories. So yeah, there we go. So I think things that you might put other stuff in them, that type of stuff. So we'll leave that be. We'll leave that. Jordan can explain it. Jordan can explain it himself in the chat because he knows all about it. And I simply don't. Now, I was looking at, I have a story. So Monday's market close, if you tried to watch it immediately after the market close, you probably would have got a message from YouTube saying that it had been blocked for copyright issues. So apparently, something in the video, I don't know exactly what, something in the video, so something in the stream made the the Grand Slam of Paris file a copyright block. So they blocked the video. Now it was something really short, something tiny in there that they had an issue with. I had a couple of options. I could have appealed it. So I could have appealed it, and I would have won because, trust me, we did not infringe upon the, some tennis match back in. I think it was it might have been the 2014 or either the 2014 or the 20. Yeah, I think it was the 2014. There's no way I infringed upon it, other than the fact it was a green day and the room was green like it is now, and maybe that might remind you of a tennis ball. I don't know. I'd be grasping at straws. But what I did is I just said, you know what, YouTube, go ahead and edit out whatever they're claiming, because I'm not going to keep that live stream blocked for, probably a month to go through the whole appeal process. So I was just like, no, go ahead. Now, luckily, I didn't get a strike from it. Whatever it was, I have no idea. Like, quite literally, those of you who were here on Monday will know tennis did not come up, not even once. There was no talk about tennis. There was no talk about France. There's more talk about tennis in France on this stream than that stream. So anyway, that was an interesting little thing. I was just like, because when I got the message on my phone, I'm looking at it, I'm like, what? The Paris Grand Slam? What the heck? So once again, no idea. The only thing I know is it was a visual. So I'm trying to think. I mean, like right now, if you look, we're looking at this chart over here, right over here. But look, there's ads on the side. So, here's a French ad. Okay. Assistance. Maybe there was an ad or something that played on the side of something I was looking at. And that might be what they wanted to claim. So I just don't know. I don't know at all. So definitely weird. Anyway, what can I say? All right. Vic says, Maruno and Baruno, or Burano, Murano, and Okay. I am horrible at pronouncing things. I'm just going to put this out there. Um, a very nice Jordan, says Enid. Let's see. Those are great examples of soft glass. I use borosilicate. Let's see, all right, well, borosilicate, like Pyrex. So all Pyrex is boro, but not all boro is Pyrex. Al is in the house with a hola. And Enid says, holo bien vedisho out. Okay. I understand bonjour. Let's see here. Al says, I don't speak French or Spanish. It's just a lot of people say hola in the US. That makes sense. I don't speak Spanish either. And I speak a little bit of French, but not. And most of the French I do know is Parisian French. So if you throw me in with a Quebecois, I'm like, I'm in trouble because it's weird because it's kind of funny where Canada is bilingual. When I went to school, we learned French, but they didn't teach us Quebec French. They taught us Parisian French. So I actually was pretty good. I was pretty good. And then my family moved to Kingston. And so I started French in high school. And I think my first term mark was 4. I could not understand a thing. A couple of reasons. One, it was much more advanced than what we were doing in Nova Scotia. And then there was just all of this. It was just crazy. I don't know. So anyway, I can muddle my way through a conversation with somebody from France, which, needless to say, I got to go talk to the Paris Grand Slam people one of these days. Bismarck, he says, finally made it. Happy Wednesday, all. Watching from work, overtime to add to my 100K. Not too shabby. And Jordan says, I speak just enough Spanish to order Taco Bell, like Burrito Bell Grande Fries Supreme. There we go. That's not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. I saw another article today. It was actually about the telecoms. So a lot of people are saying that a lot of analysts are thinking that, now's the time to be buying Rogers, Bell, TELUS, and Quebecor. So definitely interesting. And they're saying part of it is that a lot of the business tactics that they have been using, like their sales tactics, have been just completely off the mark. And that's been part of the reason that has helped them all fall to record lows. But they're starting to get things together, and they're pretty positive on where things are going for that sector. Now, I'm also positive too. Now, I don't know about the sales tactics part, but I do know about when we start getting more rate cuts under our belts, people will be a little more inclined to not be cutting back money. People might be a little more inclined to sign a new contract on a new phone, things like that. So I think there's definitely room for the telecoms to start picking themselves back up, but I don't think they're going to be first. I think right now I'm really, really kind of bullish on REITs. I think REITs will be some of the leaders when it comes to these rate cuts, helping them out. REITs, I think, and utilities will do well. It'll be good for the banks too, but the banks do still have all of those mortgages coming. So that's going to kind of hinder them a little bit when it comes into recovery. But I think there's nothing to really hinder the REITs, nothing to hinder utilities. So we're going to see a little bit of I think we're going to see a lot of interesting stuff as we move forward. Now, Al, we're still talking languages in the chat. Al says, I took 6 years of French. I was like the top 3 in the classes. And right now I remember close to 0 French. Uh-oh, that's not great. Enid says, I speak 4 languages. So we know English, probably French and Spanish. But what is the 4th? What is the 4th language, Enid? I'm trying to think if I can guess. I'm going to say Italian. I will say your 4th language is Italian. Oh, I just heard a thing fall. But I do have new things for the back. So I'm going to get those done sooner than later, but I need to get some kind of nails. I'm going to actually use some like thin nails to hold them up because the tape is just not working. And, they're falling all the time. Now, Vic says, I know sign language. Okay, it's just one finger, but I use it often as I drive. Oh, boy. You must have learned that from my mom. I'm sure you two know each other. Al says, $1,500 short on my all-time high on June 18th. I hope NVIDIA can just hold its value. Yeah, absolutely. I think NVIDIA is going to do fine. And if we do get that pump, as a few analysts seem to think is coming, that takes us up to 150, that wouldn't be too shabby for you either. Yeah, and see, Al wants to know as well, what languages, which languages. So there we go. So the video coming out tomorrow for the channel members, Friday for everybody else. We're doing EQ Bank. So the deep dive will be EQ Bank. They won pretty clearly in the vote. So that will be coming out on Friday. And I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm almost finished, to be honest. I've already filmed it. I've already been editing. So yeah. So yeah, channel members, you'll have it by 2:00 tomorrow, and everybody else 2:00 on Friday. So that's going to be great. Oh, another announcement I made the other day is, and I did put this into the Discord. We'll just head over to the Discord. I'll show you guys. And YouTube schedule. So here we go. Right here, July 26th. So July 26th will be that 4,000 sub open to close live stream. So we're going to start at 9:15 a.m. Eastern. So basically 15 minutes before the market opens. Then we're going to go to 4:45. So that'll be 15 minutes after the market close. Sorry, 4:45. That should be 4:15. I mean, if you guys are still talking and I can still talk at that time, we might go a little longer. But 4:15. There we go. There we go. I love it when I catch an error. So yeah, 9:15 to 4:15. So that will be a fun stream. All right. Vic says, oh, look at that, Vic. You go under. Oh my gosh. Are you guys? Oh no, you guys don't see on my screen. It shows it as going under, but all right. Anyway, let's see here. What was he saying? Oh, Candace, do you appreciate my wit after all these? Oh, I always appreciate your wit. Absolutely. I appreciate. This is the way I look at it, right? I appreciate everybody's humor, even the humor that doesn't work. I'm good with it all. Al says, oh, I bought options ETF today. First time ever buying dividend income option stock ETF. Nice. Romanian. Okay. Huh. Not Italian. Darn it. Al says, oh, cool. And what else? Let's see, like Canadian, is Canadian in a t-shirt Romanian? Is he, is he from Romanian heritage, or does he speak interesting. All right, let's go back and take our final look at the markets, see where we ended up for the day. All right, we already have this up. Let's head back. We finally got a little bit of green over here for Bitcoin. And once again, I mean, it's a great day on the market. Nice and green. You got the TSX up 1.4%. S&P 500, they did manage to break the 1%. NASDAQ 1.09%. Gold up, silver up, WTI up, and Bitcoin's trying. Bitcoin is trying. Maybe they'll be up by the end of the day. Who knows? Who knows? So yeah, that's what's going on. We got our, once again, not a bad looking map. Not a bad looking heat map at all. A lot of green, a lot of green. I mean, there's obviously still some people in the red like Nutrien or, well, look at the communications, because we were talking about the communications earlier, right? Bell is up, but TELUS and Rogers, look at them. They're both down quite a bit. Rogers down negative, 1.72, TELUS 1.05. So that's where the bell falls. That's I guess Bell's not the one falling, but that's where it goes. All right. And over, of course, into the good old, we'll just zip past these guys for a moment. We don't really need the ETFs at the moment. But I did notice this. Look at this XQQ. I think anything today that has a QQ in it is probably doing okay. All right. Over to the US and NVIDIA, one of the big winners of the day. So you can sort of see here, like you can see, like they are back up at 135. So their high was 130. What was it? 135. Let's see here. 135. Yeah, right here, 135.58. Right now they're at 134.93. But look at this. This here is showing you the post market. So in the post market, they're at 135.09. So they have almost caught their old all-time high. So for those people, and you guys have heard the the people on the internet and all of that and on YouTube and everything saying, it's over for NVIDIA when this happened, when they had this little correction. Well, guess what? Nope, it's not over. It's not over at all. So not too shabby, not too shabby. And here's Tesla. Tesla just they're still doing okay. Like since they had their earnings call, they've been fine. Look at this. I mean, 263. That's not too shabby at all. That's a really nice trip up. Nice trip up for sure. So, everything is working. All those people who love Tesla, all those people who love NVIDIA, you guys are all in, you're all in a good spot right now. You're in a good spot. Another one too that a lot of people sometimes talk about is United Health, and they're in the process of moving back up a bit. They had a little bit of a correction from here, but that's fine. That's fine. It happens. It happens. Now, one of the nice things about health, so when we start thinking about health here, we start to think of it through a Canadian lens. But you have to remember, in the U.S., it's a for-profit system, right? So healthcare companies can make a ton for sure. So just something to keep in mind. All right, let's get back to we almost missed crypto. There we go. Same old thing. Although Solana did get back above the zero, so we got to give them some credit for that. All right, let's get rid of that, and we will. Where are we at? Oh, here we are. So there we go. So English, French, Spanish, and Romanian. I got 3 of the 4. 3 of the 4. Canadian in a t-shirt without glasses. Yeah, he got the laser eye surgery, so he doesn't need to wear his glasses anymore. But gosh, those glasses were kind of iconic. So, maybe just remove the prescription lenses, right? But still wear them. It's hard to say. I mean, I thought he looked fine either way. So, yeah, exactly. So much green. Load up on Tesla. Thank me later. And Al's like, I wish I bought a Tesla. Okay, Adrian is from Romania. Okay, there we go. I did not know that. All right, FHS. Hi, Al. Home ownership being unreasonable. More lean on income ETFs to pay rent instead. If ever in a bear market, which ETFs are stable, divs, and no price erosion, and what yields to expect? Thoughts, please. Holy banana bread. it's kind of one of these things. So when you're looking for stability, and it also depends on how much dividends you're looking for as well. One of the things that will happen is when you're in a bear market. So, it tends to be a situation that will impact everything. So it can impact dividends. So for example, if you looked at HYLD, they ended up cutting their dividend in the last bear market. But now that things are better, they have, they've brought back what they cut and have gone a little bit higher. So that is kind of good. Now, Al is recommending UH. Let's take a look at UH. Boop-a-doop-doo. Here we go. Let's look here. UH. Okay. So UH. Now, UH, is that like United Health? Let me take a look here. Yeah, I'm not sure what UH is for whatever reason. For some reason, it's not coming up. No, and I feel like I should know the name. I feel like I should know it. But anyway, Al says I looked it up once. It's really good. Vic says load up on TELUS. Oh, I just meant Unit Health. I don't know its symbol. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not. Let's see. Well, we were looking at UNH. That there is United Health Group. That's the one we actually were looking at live. We looked at that just a moment ago. All right. So this, of course, it is a U.S. stock. And when you look at them on the 3-year, it's kind of a mosey forward, this and that. They haven't done great, but they also haven't. I mean, if you bought back here at 400, you're up at 500. So that's not too shabby. The dividend is not super great. So, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. It's not a stock that I would personally get into, but yeah, that's good old United Health for you. And there we go. Yeah, United, exactly. So when you're looking, and this is the thing, once again, this is where I usually say, we're looking for an ETF. So, all right, let's do something here. Let's go to Trading View. All right, so within Trading View, we have tools. So let me just pull this up here. Products. We got screeners, and that's what we're looking for. ETFs. So we'll come in here to this. So this is where you're looking. So one of the things is when you're building a portfolio and you're looking for income, because if you wanted to pay your rent, obviously, yes, you're looking for income. So that very first thing I'm probably going to say is maybe I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I think I do want monthly. So I want monthly dividends. So here are our monthly dividends. All right. Now, how I can look is I can come down here, for example, and we can sort them. We can sort them by dividend if we want to. So, whoop, wrong direction, descending. All right. So we've got a whole bunch here that, are showing us everything from a yield of 197.46%. That's pretty high. And here's the thing. When you look at some of these ones, so MSTY, let me, right here, I'm going to put this, we'll bring up this one here. So we'll look at this right away. So MSTY, so that there is the yield max. So it is a US stock. Oh, I think I didn't choose Canada yet, but we'll still look at this anyway, because I know a few of you have like this and like yield max, and that's fine. But yeah, so the distribution yield according to the TMX is 143%. So yeah, it's pretty darn crazy. So this is what they have synthetic covered calls. That's kind of what yield max goes with. Now, I'm always curious to come down here and look at their dividend. And yeah, so it looks like their dividend's all over the place. Probably depends on how much they're making with the options that they're writing. So what the asset is for Misty is MicroStrategy is what they're They don't actually hold it, but they write options on it. So that's why they call it synthetic, because they're not really holding MicroStrategy. And depending on how their options do, how much they're making in premiums and things like that, that's going to really impact what this dividend's going to look like. And right now, I mean, they're doing okay. But the one downside about this is that when you're dealing with a really big dividend and you're in Canada, well, if you hold it in your TFSA, you've lost 15% to the IRS. You're not getting that back. If you hold it in your RRSP, you'll get the whole thing. But if you try to pull any of that out of your RRSP, you're going to get taxed by the CRA. If you put it into a personal account, then you're going to get hit by the IRS. They're going to take it, but then you can basically not pay that to the CRA, so you'll get a credit for that, because that way you're not getting taxed twice. So it kind of works that way. But let's go back to, once again, all right, I was in the US market, so let's change that to Canada. That should have been one of the first things that we did. Okay, now we get some more reasonable numbers up here. So up at the top, we've got a 20% dividend yield. And then you can see it sort of goes down as we start zipping down. So that's a lot of companies. So what we're looking for is we're looking for a little bit more with some stability, right? So one of the ways to look at stability is we can look at their, we can look, for example, at their performance. Performance, huge. So let's say, for example, and we got year to date, but let's do this. Let's look over the last, I really love the 3-year mark. I wish I could actually choose my own range here. We're going to go to 5 years. So this is 5 years. So we're looking for a company that has had, we'll say 10% and above. We'll just put that in for now. So now we're looking at companies that have returned even through the bear market, at least average over the last 5 years. We're looking at, we've got, for example, ENCC. QQCL, well, that's brand new, but that would be the same as QQCC. And you can see some of these Q ones. You got the TD Active US Enhanced, and you're looking at the dividends that you have. But here's the beautiful thing, right? So you take ENCC. Let's go over here. Let's type it in, ENCC. All right, so this is going to be oil and gas. They do use covered calls, so that way there, you're getting the premiums and everything else. We'll just go to the 3-year. So on the 3-year, of course, here's the thing with the 3-year. Right now, what we have is this here was basically the buildup. So back here, the pandemic happened just before here, and you can sort of see if we go back here, you can see the pandemic, then the bull market after the pandemic, and then we went into a bear market. But you'll notice that oil still did okay in that bear market. So we do have that happening. So that shows a little bit of stability. It shows you a little bit of the fact that, this is a stock that is, because it's more closely tied to the price of oil, it's going to follow that. Now, obviously, if we had an absolute oil crash, something like this would definitely be impacted. But even if we did, oil will recover. So this to me is what I would call a pretty safe covered call ETF in that sense. So even now you can see it's been hanging out, it's been hanging out about just, around the $11 mark. So it's been hanging out there for a while. But, you're getting a nice dividend. So 14.273%. We come in here, we take a look, and you'll see 13 cents every single month. Bang, 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 bang. Not a bad one. Not a bad one at all. All right. Now, I'm going to skip Dan for a second. I'll get right back to you, Dan. Just want to shout out Mary. The hit the like button girl has sent us a super sticker, and let's see what it actually looks like. It's the face with the heart eyes. Cool. Very, very cool. Thank you, Mary. Thank you big time. That is awesome. So that means we're 3 supers away from a Friday show. So not too shabby. All right, now back to Dan. And Dan says, I recommend EIT for continuous divs and capital preservation. So EIT, and this is a good one. So, it's actually really interesting. The first big influx of subscribers I've had to the channel was from an EIT video, actually. So we'll go to EIT.UN here. So this is the Canoe EIT Income Fund. So you will see right now their yield is 8.746%, but they're consistent. It's basically 10 cents a shares. And it happens no matter what, pretty much no matter what happens. Like I'll show you here. If we go into the data, you'll see 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. So it's a straight up 10 cents a share. It's pretty reliable. At one point, before all the covered call ETFs came along, this was one of the top dogs in most portfolios. Now, let me, let's go back here for a second. And right now, if you look at it, like if we look at just the last year, you can see they've been doing well. They've had a nice pump back up. If we look over the 5-year, though, you will see over here, they're coming along, had the pandemic, bull market. But once again, they did okay in that bear market. But part of the reason is EIT, they invest in a lot of financials and oil and gas. So that tends to keep them pretty stable. But they're definitely another good one. If we go back 10 years, you can sort of see before the pandemic, they had their own little place where they used to sit, right? Right, I'd say right about here. The average would be about here. So, almost $12. But now they seem to be sticking anew. They seem to have they've come back and they've done better. So they're actually doing better than they were before the pandemic. So that's not too shabby. Not too shabby. Now, one thing I will say about Canoe is they do employ return of capital. So if you are holding Canoe, this is a TFSA one if I've ever seen one, because you don't want to have a return of capital happening in something you're holding outside of your TFSA. So for example, when you have return on capital, what it does is it takes your adjusted cost base and it lowers it. So that way there, if you were holding Canoe in like a personal account, and then for whatever reason you decided to sell, well, you'll actually end up paying more capital gains because of that. Now, that, of course, is not even remotely an issue if you're holding it in a registered account. So your TFSA or your RRSP, if you want to use it there too. So those are just a couple of options. But play around, like quite seriously, just play around with the screener. And here's the funny thing: even if you don't know what everything means, you can come in here and say, okay, a currency. Well, if you're not sure what an asset class of currency is, click on it, see what you get. Well, you got nothing, right? In that case there, though, what I would do is I would remove that, and then you all of a sudden get some of this other stuff coming up. So the purpose Ether ETF. So they're lumping that. They're lumping some of those crypto things. They're actually lumping them in the currency, which is kind of interesting. But that's a conversation all on its own for sure. So just something to play around with. And you can reset everything. You can sort of say, okay, well, I want ETFs only by CIBC. And here we go. There's a CIBC US index, CIBC international index. I wonder, now, well, technically they're not ETFs. I was going to say, it'd be funny if the CDRs came in, but they're not ETFs, so they wouldn't. But you can just sort of play around with different categories, and that'll give you a feeling. That'll give you an absolute feeling for how to use it, and then start combining them together. And that's a beautiful thing. When you pick a category, right, and you get a huge bunch of results, well, then just make the category tough. Add more criteria. Say, okay, it needs to have a higher performance. And that way there, you can then start narrowing those down and making it a little bit easier to find what you're looking for. All right. And thank you, Dan. Dan has joined the channel members. So Dan's going to get to see videos a day early. Plus, next Thursday, we have the channel member exclusive live stream. So I'm going to be putting a message out to the channel members here this week to get some ideas for what you want to see. I'll gather the ideas. We'll put out a poll. and you guys can vote on whatever the topic is going to be this time around. Sometimes you guys come up with some really good ones. Actually, last month we actually did retirement from day one to retirement age. So what you should be doing in your 20s and 30s and all of that. And that was a lot of fun. So we definitely have a ton of fun in the channel member live streams. All right. CC says, PSA.to dividends dates don't show up on my Quest trade chart like stocks have. Am I supposed to buy and sell, repeat the monthly price oscillation? Well, I wouldn't recommend it. I'll show you why. Let me just pull that up for you. So PSA, that's one of the cash ETFs. All right, here we go. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to go to the 1 year because then you can see this oscillation here. So this is the oscillation. So it normally sits at about $50. And that's on ex-dividend day. So on the ex-dividend day, it's at $50. And it slowly works up to the day before. And in this case here, in this month here, it was $50.18. So, you could. Now, what you could do is if you wanted to, is you could buy every time the ex-dividend day comes, and you could sell it the day before. In that case, yeah. In this case, you're getting 18. This one here, 18, almost 19. Oh, this one here, you did good. You did 21 cents. That's kind of cool. Now, you could, of course, look, and if it's at 21 cents, you could say, okay, well, maybe that's a day where I should do it. But let's take a look. So here's your distribution, 18.2 cents. So here's where you're looking at. So if you bought it at 50, now keep in mind, this month, look, there's an aberration here. This one went up a bit higher. But look at this. It actually only made it down to $50.02. So you kind of got to take that into consideration. So when you look at that $50.02 and you got up here to almost 50.22, basically 50.20. So you would make, in this case here, if you did that, you would actually make 2 cents more than the dividend. However, depending on where you're holding this, right? If you're making these quick little buys, you're really darn close to getting flagged as day trading. Now, this would really only be an issue if it was in your TFSA. So for the most part, I say it's not even worth trying to play these that way. Park your money in it. And then each month you should be getting that 5% dividend. So in this case here, 18.2 cents per month, which is fantastic. Now, the way the payout works on these is, let me take a look here. All right, so here we go. So 18.2, and sometimes even higher. Like, look at this. And I think it depends on, I don't know what it depends on, but obviously it depends on what the fund is doing. So sometimes you will get higher than 18 cents. So the previous month you got 22 cents, 20 cents, 18, but they're always going to declare it. Now the date of record, so the ex-dividend date is basically just basically around the same time. So June 26th, May 29th, April 26th. So you want to have purchased these before then, and then you should get paid. So right now, July 3rd would have been the last pay date on this ETF. So that should, so CC, hopefully you're still receiving them, even if it's not showing up. I would double check. If you are still not receiving them, I would contact Quest Trade and say, what's going on? So, because there's no reason why you wouldn't be getting these. So maybe for some reason, they're looking at it as interest. Maybe Quest Trade categorized it as interest. If they're doing it that way, you might have to, and I'm not familiar with Quest Trade. I've never used it, but when you're looking at your activity, I think you can choose interest as well. So maybe look and see if it's being categorized as something different, but you definitely should be receiving that. All right. Patricia's in the house with a hi there. Hi, Patricia. Good to see you. It's kind of a quiet day. It's kind of a quiet day as we mosey along here today. It's that calm before the storm. Now, I'm kind of curious. Those of you who have been sort of following the whole CPI journey down there in the States, What are you expecting tomorrow? Are you thinking it's going to be and we'll just say it, a dovish or a hawkish CPI? So a dovish meaning, yeah, it's good for inflation, it's good for the market, or hawkish and that inflation comes in a little higher and the market goes in turmoil. So let's hear what you guys are thinking. As you do, I'm going to have a quick sip here. Oh, I love that coffee. So I love that coffee. Um, the other thing I wanted to mention here is as we are doing the open to close live stream on the 26th, if any of you wish to make an appearance, to come on and say hi to everybody, I'd be more than happy. I've got a whole day to fill, so if you want to come on, let me know. Just message me on Discord, or just throw a message even in the in the comments here if you want. We'll talk. We'll talk. Nobody has messaged me yet, by the way, so I'll put that out there. Um, it doesn't matter whether or not anybody comes on or not. It's okay. And I'm not asking you want to come on. Like I probably wouldn't have you on for like the whole day, but I mean, if somebody wants to come on and say, "Oh, I would like to come on for like 15 minutes and just hang for a bit," that would be cool. That would be cool. All right. Prairie says I think it will be hawkish. So Prairie's thinking big red day tomorrow. Big red day. We'll have to see. It's funny. My heart wants it to be dovish. I'm like, oh, come on, let's cut the Americans a break. But ah, there's a big part of me that thinks you're right. There's a big part of me that thinks you're right, Prairie. Al says, I think it is going to be similar as the last 2 months. Inflation signs will be present, but not enough to do something just yet. But that's the thing. When it comes to the investors, they don't need a lot. They don't need a lot to just to take it the wrong way. They're pretty much like, yeah, let's see what happens. But yeah, it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun. And I know there's one. If you ever want doom and gloom, there's one source on the internet that you can go and you will get all the doom and gloom that you can muster, and that is the good old Meet Kevin channel. He does tend to take the negative approach to a lot of things, but I will admit, if you have a thumbnail that sort of makes it look like the world is about to fall apart, yeah, more people are going to click on it. So there is that. There is that. All right. FHS says, thanks all for going over stable ETFs. Appreciate your thoughts. Rent and invest versus buying home. Concerned more about rents increasing and in retirement moving and finding home may be difficult. Low supply. Thanks. And that's a big issue. You've hit a few things there. It's not the best buying time right now because, well, there's not a lot there. The prices are pretty high. When we start as we get more of a push on building, and the Trudeau and the current government, they've got lots of plans, but lots of red tape too. Now the Conservatives under Polyev, they have promised to sort of get rid of a lot of this red tape. So we'll have to see whether or not he follows through on that. But I hope he does, because it would be great to see homes starting to pop up. And as we start getting a lot more homes, that will make the market much more friendly for home buyers. So, prices will come down as supply increases. And it's just sort of the typical law of supply and demand. So that's kind of the thing. But on the downside, rents are pretty high too and hard to find. So, I read stories. Like I think earlier today, I actually read a story that Halifax on the East Coast, they're basically setting aside more land for people to set up tents on. To me, it's like, that's not how you solve the housing crisis. You build houses. You build houses. You shouldn't have to have people needing more room to set up their tents. You should be, get the carpenters pounding on the things, or or find some form of, sure, if there's no place for people right now, you may have to, but at the same time, I was just thinking about it. I'm just like, come on, guys, let's get these houses built. The government right now, current government, you can do better. You can do better. And you get another year and a bit in there. So let's try to go out building houses. Let's try to do that. Although I will admit, I don't hold a lot of hope for the current government. And it's not, and just to be clear, it's not because they're a liberal government. It's because they're an old government. I find most new governments tend to be pretty effective in their first term. And every term after that, they become less and less effective, to the point that we get, well, to where we're at now, where they're pretty much useless. Pretty much useless. So it's definitely time for a change. And you know what? 10 years from now, if Polyev has stayed in power that whole time, I'll be complaining about him. I will be complaining about him because he will no longer be effective. It'll be time for change. So, and it's kind of that pattern, the normal pattern we see. We've been seeing as long as I've been alive anyway. Al says homes won't go up unless interest rates come down. That's always a problem. Now, a couple of things the government did do that I thought were okay, were in the right direction, was sort of, removing some of the GST on some of the supplies that builders needed to build homes. But here's the thing. They sort of, my understanding is that they put a little bit of rules on it. So, for example, it had to be like multi-family dwellings to get some of these benefits. So, if you were just building regular straight up houses, single family homes, I don't think they're getting too many benefits. So if anything, they should have just put the benefits, I think, right across the board. I understand. They're trying to sort of say, okay, well, we have a lot of people who need houses, so let's give benefits to people making, multi-family units. But, put it across the board. Put it across the board. That's what I say. And yeah, Al's saying builders won't build in this economy. Yeah, exactly. And plus, even now, we still have a situation like there are still labor issues within construction and building. So that's another thing too. We maybe one of the things we want to do as well is, if we can't get the houses built because we don't have enough people to build them, well, we need to get people trained, even if it's a situation where, if maybe even if we put a little bit of a tax incentive towards people going to trade school, becoming carpenters and other related trades people, to get more of these things done. That would be very cool. All right. Prairie says, would appreciate a bit of a commentary on YTSL, YNVD versus the CDR equivalent. So pros and cons. All right. So first of all, let's go here for a second here. All right. Let's go to our purpose yield shares. All right. Here's our good old purpose yield shares page. So, all right, here we go. Let's pull them all up here. So as you can see, we get they have a lot of good ones, and they are always adding a little bit more. So right now, for example, the NVIDIA, so YNVD, it's paying 55 cents per share right now. So you're getting a pretty crazy, you're getting a very crazy, I have an idea. All right, just give me a second here. All right. I'm going to get rid of this here. All right. We're going to look at something here. NYVD. All right. So, sorry. NY. Like I was going into a police station or something. YNVD. All right. And the other one I think is just NVDA. All right. Perfect. I'm just going to bring this over here. So I am going to take a look. We're going to take a look. So I'll fill this out. I'll put this on the other screen as I fill it out, but I'll pull the data up in here. So here we go. Let's go to YNVD right here. Perfect. All right, so here is our NVIDIA. We're going to just look at the last year. So we'll look at the last year. All right. And in this case here, they haven't been around that long. So it's kind of why we have to only look at it this way. But all right, so they opened at 29.75. 29.75. Their current price is 43.84. Perfect. Okay. Now, we also have to look at their dividends. So let's go to their key data. All right. So we've had a few dividends for them. Let's see here. 0.55. Oh, and you see that one actually came up, but not surprising, not surprising. All right, we got 2 at 0.4. We got a 0.35, 0.2, and a 0.17. All right, so that's a total of $2.07 in dividends. All right, so let's bring this back over. All right, so what we have here is we have a return on investment of 47.36%. We factor in those dividends, we get a total return of 54.32% right there. So there's our number to beat. There is our number to beat. All right, let's go to NVDA. All right. Here we go. And we're looking on the NEO. Let's see here. That is not giving me what I'm looking for. Let's just see here. CI, B, C, NVD, NVDA. And I thought it was NVDA. Give me a second. I will look it up because maybe I have the wrong ticker here. All right. Give me a second here, guys. I'm pulling this up. At least trying to. I'm trying to pull this up. See if we can get some get something going here. All right. Now I do hold some of it in my my RRSP. So let me just pull that up. Yeah, NVDA. CDR. Well, let's see here. I'll find it. I will find it. Do not worry. Let's just put in CDR. All right. That's not going to help me. All right. NVDA. See how related. Sometimes they have some issues trying to find something here. All right. NVDA, NVDA, NVDA. All right. That's fine. You know what? Let's try this a different way. If I can't find it on there, I'm going to go to Yahoo Finance. All right. NVDA. It's one of those fun things when it uses the exact same. Let's see here. Let's put NEO. Any. There we go. This would be it right here. NVDA.NE. Perfect. All right. So I need the 1 year. So 31.84. Let's put that here. That's its current price. 31.84. And it was, let's see here, 10.85. Okay. Perfect. All right. Now let's take a look at their historical data. And we'll go with the 1 year. And I want dividends only. Apply. We have very, 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 very little dividends. You know what? I'm gonna round that all up to that adds up to not even a cent. I'm just gonna round it to a cent. I'm gonna round it to a cent. We'll go with that for the moment. All right, let's bring this over. All right, let's look at our total return. 193.47%. We'll factor in that 1 penny, 193.56%. Okay. 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 This is actually a bigger blowout than I had anticipated. So here's the thing. Let's just put it this way. You are getting a crazy dividend with the YNVDA or YNVD. But in the last year, NVDA blew them out of the water. And why? Well, because NVDA is pretty much the same as owning NVIDIA stock. Because what CIBC does is they buy a bunch of NVIDIA and then they divvy them up and they sell them. Well, in this case, is NVDA. So when we had that giant blow up of NVIDIA, well, let's actually look at it. Just give me a second here. We'll come back here and we'll go to NVIDIA right here. Okay, let's take a look here. Oh, they do have a new all-time high, 135.70. But I'm going to take this back to, let's go to the 1 day. Let's also make it a little more readable. All right, so you can sort of see. Actually, let's even just go to, I'm going to go to a 1 week because we really want to get a better view of this. All right. So you can see NVIDIA absolutely exploded. So when a stock explodes this way, what ends up happening is, well, one, fantastic, that's great. But when it comes to a covered call ETF, so anything using covered calls, such as the YNVD, you miss out. It caps your potential. And when something explodes as massively as this one did, there's no contest. There is no contest at all. And that's why we're looking at a difference of 193% to 54. There's no contest here. None. Zero. So which would be better? In this case, NVDA. NVDA. Total return. NVDA. You would have made a lot more money. A lot more. Now, you could argue, well, okay, what if I reinvested all of these dividends back into YNVD on the way? It'll get you closer. It's not going to get you all the way there, right? It's not going to, so we're only looking at $2.07, right? So if you reinvested those, well, yeah, sure, that your ROI is going to be closer to this number, and then you'll have a little bit of interest on that, and that will pump this up a little bit, but it's not going to get you anywhere close to that 193. Not even remotely. Not even close. Now, mind you, when we look at other stocks, it's the CDR will probably still win in most cases. Even if you don't have something as extreme as NVIDIA, your CDR is probably still going to win because of that capped potential. However, with other stocks that don't have a massive explosive, to the moon like NVIDIA, it'll be much closer. And if you're reinvesting those dividends, it will be even closer. So why then? Why then would anybody, I'll put the .de there just so I remember. So why would anybody even bother investing in YNVD when you look at something like this? Well, because this here is this is income. This is an income stock. Simple as that. And this is not. This is growth. I won't even call it a growth dividend because the dividend is so small. It's a growth stock. So it's two different things. So if, for example, you have a retirement portfolio, you've got no need for the growth. You probably want the income in that situation. But here's the thing: if you're not at that stage where you're looking at an income portfolio, how can you not look at these numbers and say, yeah, I think I need the CDR? Because you could even conceivably, with the CDR, I mean, you could conceivably pull some of that profit out, cash that in and use that, and then you know, you could use that opposed to something else. So just something to keep in mind. All right. Holy banana bread. That was fun. That was actually, we'll do a lot of this. We'll do a lot of stuff like this. Like we'll bring up stuff like that, especially on that open to close. Oh boy, we got a lot of time to cover on that one. So we will do a lot of that. All right, let's get back into here. All right, we got a dividend from the Banana Bread Company, $2. So that puts us at 2 supers. So we're 2 away from a Friday show. Now we are getting down to the nitty gritty, though. I will point it out. Though you guys sometimes like to wait to the last minute. So we're entering. We're last minute adjacent. Roku says, where are the affordable houses? Only thing going up in my area are 2,500 to 3,000 square feet homes and $3,000 a month apartments. Our family of 5 grew up fine in our 15 square foot bungalow. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, even the rents are getting absolutely ludicrous. A lot of places, like you can't, even if you have a full-time job, you're lucky if you can afford rent. You need a really good full-time job nowadays. So yeah, I would say the same thing. Now there are some places, and if Chad were here, this is where he would start talking about Saskatchewan. But he wouldn't be wrong. There are cheaper places in the country to still live. But if you want to live near any of the big mega cities, like if you want to live near Toronto, you want to live near Vancouver, you're going to pay more. Montreal, probably out of all the big cities, Montreal is probably your better bet because the prices in Quebec are still a little bit lower than the rest of the country. So that might be an option as well. Jackie says, Candace, you are so knowledgeable, smart, and very witty and funny. We all are learning so much from you, and I know your Banana Bread family is so glad to have you share your knowledge with us. Well, thank you. Thank you kindly. I like that. Better late than never. Hello, Eddie. Good to see you. You're coming in at the end, but that's not too shabby. Prairie says, if holding either in one's TFSA, is there the 15% withholding, or is it covered by CIBC and or purpose? Okay. So in this case here, so let's look at CIBC. They are going to pay that 15% withholding. Now, mind you, 15% on a fraction of a penny is well, it's a tiny amount. But CIBC would be the ones who the IRS would hit. And it doesn't matter where you hold it. If you're holding if you're holding a Canadian stock, a Canadian ETF, well, let's just say ETFs. We'll stick to ETFs. If you're holding a Canadian ETF that invests in American companies, that 15% is happening before it even gets to your management company. It doesn't impact you directly. Like you will still get the dividend that they report that you're getting, but it will, and that's the situation. So for example, a lot of people are like, okay, well, instead of VFV, I'll just hold VOO, the American version, over in my RRSP, so I don't lose that 15%. And you did. You're not paying the 15%, but you've now made the entire thing taxable. So it's the way it works. It is the way it works with taxes. I mean, no matter, even when we look at things, I mean, the only thing that's truly tax-free is, the stuff coming out of our TFSA. Now, there are ways, and I think we talked about this in a previous stream. If you have a sizable portfolio, one of the things people will do sometimes is instead of pulling income out of it, they'll borrow money instead, and they will then, because that money it won't be taxed. Plus, they can use the interest as a tax write-off. So some people work around that way. It's kind of one of the reasons that a lot of rich people, like a lot of CEOs, don't take a salary. They just take stock options instead. And in addition to that, it's one of the reasons why art. Have you ever wondered, why is this painting worth $1 million? Well, some cases it's because they need it to be worth $1 million, so that way they can take loans out and use it as collateral as a way to avoid paying taxes. It's kind of the way the world works, at least on the higher echelons. Let's see. For absolute newbie, is starting VFV all-in-one core XEQ global and HYLD divvy to DCA in. What basics a must to not overwhelm, but start to invest to start compounding and let portfolio motivate them. So yeah, for a newbie, I usually would recommend a lot of times you'll come in and you'll see all these flashy companies and you'll be like, ooh, I like that company. I want to have, or I bank at TD. I would like to hold TD. But one of the best things for somebody brand new, especially when you don't really know a lot, is go for one of these good ETFs. So, for example, XEQT, VEQT, VFV. These are all really good, and they're going to create some stability and a little bit of income coming in, so that they have, so they're experiencing dividends. They don't have a lot of risk with them. That, to me, that's fantastic. That's the best way to go. So I would definitely highly recommend that, because then, as that's happening on your investment side, you can then start learning. You can then start learning about the market, learning about how things work, learning about companies. And then as you get more comfortable, sure, it's time. It's time to start maybe bringing in some stocks that you like, stocks that you now have the ability to do some due diligence with. All right. Al says when. If we're talking about the open to close, that's going to be on Friday, the 26th of July. Prairie says, many, many thanks, Candace. Very much appreciated. Oh, absolutely. It's always a fun day to have one of these streams. And Prairie, I think Tesla has no dividends and NVIDIA has very, very, very little. Yeah. Now, NVIDIA did increase their dividends a little bit, but they don't have very much. But I mean, that's normal. So for a company that's growing, usually what that means is they're just putting all of that extra money back into growth and expansion of the company. And nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But once they have hit a certain level, then you'll start to see dividends start to appear at some point. But yeah, and Tesla is one of those pure growth companies at the moment, and look at what they've been doing lately. They're definitely looking better. Let's see, Tesla is 0 and NVIDIA is 1 cent per share. There we go. Now, part of the reason too, though, is the reason that NVIDIA had the recent share dividend increase was because of the split. When they did the 4-to-1, they wanted to have 1 cent per dividend, so they had to raise it up to 4 cents. And that way the split then pushed it back to 1 cent because, 4 ways. Vancouver Isle guy mentioned about trailer rental is $300. Gets me thinking, especially with all this outdoor beautiful videos. By the way, agree with Jackie. Oh yeah, absolutely. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with renting a trailer. I mean, it depends on where you live. There's a few places. If I lived in any place where tornadoes were a normal part of everyday conversation, I probably wouldn't want to rent a trailer. But there's definitely some good things. Now, I will point out, when my family moved back from Kingston, Nova Scotia, because we had lived there for like about a year, the The interesting thing is we couldn't find a house right away. So we rented a trailer while we were looking for a house. And we finally found a house, moved out of the trailer. We were in the trailer for about, oh my gosh, almost 6 months. But pretty much about a week after we moved out of the trailer, there was a big storm that came through, and a tree fell on the trailer that we had been living in. There was nobody in the trailer at the time, so nobody got hurt or anything. But I thought that was kind of amusing. It's just like, wow, good thing we found a house. Let's see. I just meant it's pronounced when, not Juan. Oh, Saskatchewan. There we go. Saskatchewan. Okay, I'll try to remember that. Let's see here. HYLD and VFV dripped today. Nice. Or yesterday. All right. Well, it was either today or yesterday, but all right. If you got your last minute questions, drop them in now. We're at the end. I'll have a sip of coffee here. Will you guys drop in those last couple of questions, and then we'll sail off into whatever the night holds. In my case, it's probably going to be getting the cat unstuck from things, because one of our cats, not the kitten, she had to go and get, she had a nail. So if you've ever had cats, this is the first cat I've ever had. She has an extra nail on each paw. So it's like, it's not on a particular, I want to call them fingers, but she just has this extra one. So it's almost like there's two on her thumb type, whatever that pad is called. And it grew back in. So we had to take her to the vet today to get that. Well, Jill took her over to the vet because I had the live stream to get ready for. So they had to cut that and pull it. Apparently, it was actually going a bit into her muscle. It was twisted back in. So pretty painful. But for now, while she's healing, she can't be licking that area. So she has to wear a cone. So she's got this plastic cone, and she keeps getting it stuck on things. So I don't know how long she needs. Probably at least a couple of days in the cone. Maybe half a week. But yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be my night. Making sure she's a little more comfortable. All right. Oh, and we have another dividend coming in from the Banana Bread Company. He received a dividend. I love it. One of these days, I'll find out who the Banana Bread Company person is, even though I kind of don't want to know. But I'll figure it every so often. And I say this, I've said this many times. I have an idea every so often. But then it falls apart. I would not make a great detective. I absolutely wouldn't. Eddie says, I had a polydactyl cat with 7 toes on front paws and 6 on the back. Holy cow. It's like, why do they need a couple of extra claws? It's not good for my leg if they decide to jump up. So, but with Autumn, we will have to sort of be a little more proactive with cutting her nails to make sure it doesn't happen again. Because let me tell you, go into the vet and have them cut it and pull that nail out, and the antibiotics and everything. It was almost $300. It was just crazy expensive. It's like, so it's like, yeah. Let's make sure we don't let it ever. And part of it is that she hates having that nail cut, so it becomes a little bit of an issue when she does that. All right. Whew. And thank you, Enid. I appreciate it. So before we leave, if you have not yet hit that like button, this is your last chance. It's your last chance to hit that button on the way out. And if you guys are watching me, by the way, Paris Grand Slam, don't levy any kind of copyright complaints about this one. We may have talked about you, but if anything, Paris Grand Slam, hit me with like a slander label because of my negativity towards you. But no more of those copyright things. I've had enough of those. I don't want to see those anymore. FHA says, thank you for your generosity, Banana Bread Company and all. Yeah, absolutely. We're here for you guys. All that fun stuff. So yeah, tomorrow, channel members, you'll be able to watch the deep dive on EQ Bank, and Friday, everybody else can catch that one as well. All right. So we got the 3. Well, you know what? Hold on 1 second. FHS did she did give me an extra $5 to throw towards one of these challenges. I almost forgot about that. So let's throw it towards this one. I'll throw it towards this one. That'll make the 4. And there you go. There we go. So thank you, FHS. You have saved the day. I almost forgot about that. That makes 4. We'll be back on Friday. We will be back here on Friday. Bonus market close. We can look at how these next 2 days are going to be. Hopefully, it's going to be all bliss, but it might be a really good buying opportunity as well. So we'll have to see. Until then, everybody, take care. We'll see you again very, very, very soon. And thank you. You're welcome. This is all. There we go. I'm about to go and everybody's just dropping in. Yeah, thanks, Candace. You're welcome, everybody. We'll see you on Friday. Take care. Have a good end of week. Bye, everybody.